Okay, it's a new day and I have got some of my bigger potatoes washed up. I like to wash them before I peel them. Not a necessary step, but at the same time, then I don't have a bunch of dirt all over the potato that I'll have to clean off. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel them with my peeler. And when I get them all peeled, then I'm going to use my crinkle cutter and make fries with them. And I've got water boiling on the stove. And I'm going to boil them for 3 to 6 minutes. You want them just starting to get tender. You don't want them mushy. And then I'm going to put them in cold water and shock them so the cooking process stops. Then I've got a bath towel on the other side here, and I'm going to lay them on there and just get all the excess water off of them. And I'm going to have some baking sheets ready, lined with some parchment paper. And what I do to that is I take my olive oil spray and I spray a thin coat on the parchment paper. I'll lay the French fries on it. And then when I get them laid on there, I'll spray a thin coat of olive oil on top of them. And then I'm going to flash freeze them until they're good and froze. Then I'll take them out and I'll put them into bags, quart bags. Now I don't vacuum seal my French fries anymore. I did some last year at the beginning, but you got to use them froze. You're not supposed to let them thaw out before you take them out and fry them. So what I was dealing with, even though I flash froze them, I still had several stuck together. So now I just use Ziploc bags because they're not going to be in there a long time. And I was probably 6 months into it before I ran out of fries last year. There was no freezer burn or anything. They was fries just like the day that I had put them up in the bag. So I do eliminate the vacuum sealing. If you want to do it, that's fine. If they're going to be in freezer for a long time. And it also works to put the whole glob down in your oil. I mean, they're going to break apart. But I do like if I've got extra people coming, I don't want to have to deal with globs. I like to have individual fries, so if I've got to get into another package and just add, a handful of fries, I can. So I do it that way. Now, I like to do this with my regular knife, just so I don't have a chance of it falling back on me. And then I'm just going to use my crinkle cutter. I'll try and make them thinner. Yesterday we had them for supper and I had them a little thick, so I'm going to just do them like that. I'm going to go ahead and put them in that cold water. Let them be. You're supposed to let them in there like, I think it said up to an hour. Now they're not going to make it an hour this time. I never really let them sit in cold water for an hour before, just because I don't really have time or the space to be doing that. I need my sink. So they'll probably be in there 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'll get them out, and then we'll get them blanched for 3 to 6, and then I can get them in the freezer because I have got at least, I went out and picked those cherry tomatoes again yesterday. And I've probably got at least another gallon bag to put up today. So at the rate they're going, I'm going to be making juice probably next week because I'm going to have at least 1 to 2 more gallon bags of tomatoes froze. I'm going to have to take out and make some juice with. I mean, it's good. It's a good problem to have. I just wish they was bigger tomatoes so I could be worried about where I'm going to put all the salsa that I would be making, because I think I'm still going to be short this year on salsa. But it is what it is. I'm going to put up as much as the good Lord will let me put up. Right now, I don't know if it's the way it is in your area, but I'm having trouble finding the mixes. Thankfully not the pickle mixes, but I am the salsa mix. Never really had that problem before, but now all of a sudden I can't hardly find them. So I think I've got 2 or 3 more mixes in there, which that means probably, I think I can get 5 or 6 pints per mix, according to how many tomatoes I actually get in there. Varies. So I can get 10 to 15 more pints, and then that could be it. But we'll make do. I don't like store-bought salsa anymore, not after having the homemade. So it could be that I might have to, maybe in the off season we'll find the mixes, and I might have to buy organic canned tomatoes and just make it like that. That would be better than the store-bought still. So I'm gonna get these all cut up and finished, and I'll show you the next step to it. It's not hard. It's just, this is the hardest part that you're doing right here, is getting them cut. But they make nice crinkle cut potatoes. I love crinkle cut fries. My husband does too, but he also likes the straight cut, so I know that I'll be making straight cut. I'll probably alternate. The next batch I do will be straight cut, and then I'll go back to crinkle cut, just to give a little bit of variation. I'm hoping this works for my sweet potato fries too, because sweet potato fries is actually my ultimate favorite fry. So I'm hoping the sweet potatoes isn't too hard to go through with this crinkle cutter, because if it is, I might have to go back to my stand-up cutter on them. So I'm gonna get some more peeled and cleaned so we can get them in the freezer so I can get on to my next project. Okay, I've got all the fries that I'm going to cut today here, because if I've got time, I think I might try and can some potatoes. So I've got these in some nice cool water, and they are just beautiful crinkle cuts. I really like that cutter. Now I've got clean ice water in this sink, which I know you can't see it very well, but it's just ice water. Now, these have been setting for a little while, so I've got my water boiling on the stove. So what I'm going to do now is blanch them for 3 to 6 minutes, and then they'll go into this ice water. And then over here, I've got a bath towel that I use just for canning. I got certain towels that I keep for canning, and I'll lay them on there and get them good and dry, patted, and then they're going to go on baking sheets to be put in the freezer. Very simple process. There's just steps to it. Nothing hard. There's just steps, and then we'll have nice fries to enjoy in the off season. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I'll probably make straight cuts tomorrow, so I'm going to get these boiling and get them blanched, and I'll show you what they'll look like before we freeze them. Okay, the first round's done. I left them in there for 5 minutes. And now we're ready for the second round. Just drop them in there. almost all of them. I don't have a whole lot of empty freezer space, so I have to do it in smaller batches like this. I've got 3 baking sheets now ready, lined with parchment for when I get these drained. And I can put one above my fridge in that freezer, and then I've got 2 little freezers. I can lay one in there good and level. So that's what I'm going to do. Now what I'll do is, since these have been in the cold water, the excess moisture, just lay them on there, single file like that. Let them drain just a little bit, and then I'll get them put on my sheets. Like I said, I've just got some baking sheets here, and I put a piece of parchment on it, and I'll take my oil mister, it's just olive oil in it, get it good and coated so that each fry will get some oil on it. And then I'll put these on there single file. You don't want them stacked, and so they can flash freeze for a few hours. And then we'll be ready to bag them up. Okay, I got 3 pans here. They're plenty full. So all I'm going to do now is take my spritzer that's got olive oil in it. I'm going to spritz them lightly on top, get a little coating of oil on them. Now, I've heard some people, or actually I've read where people put salt on them too. I don't do that. I think I've done it once, and there really isn't, to me, there's no reason to do that, because when you take fries out of the oven, or if you fry them, whatever you do, you're going to put a little bit of salt on them anyway. So I feel like that's just too much salt. So now they're going in the freezer. They'll be in there until they're probably 2 hours, gets them good enough to where they're almost frozen solid for me. And then I'll put them in Ziploc quart bags and label them, date them, and this is the first of many French fries. So about all I'm getting done today is picking the tomatoes that's needing picked. I like to pick them just as they're turning so no pests get a hold of them. I think I've done a pretty good job. They're dying off. I'm hoping I at least get enough tomatoes to get my salsa quota for this year. It's a pretty decent one. But yeah, there was several more of these. I actually probably could go down here and pick some more, but these tomatoes just do not look good. They come on strong and fizzled fast. I'm not sure what happened with them. I give them their fertilizer like I always do. I don't know if it was too much water in the spring, and then now we went next to nothing now in the fall or the late summer. So, but I'm going to put up as many as I can get. But they don't look real good. But I'm still hoping for a nice crop. We need some rain. See, something got that one. But I'm gonna go, my peppers, I just watered them again. They're looking sad. We're getting into that late summery kind of deal where my powdery mildew is taking over on my cucumbers. They're still got some babies in there, but man, what a good inch of slow rain would do. I got one. But I haven't even been getting enough to do one big round of pickles yet. Might have to go to the farmer's market and pick up some picklers just so I can get me 10 or 20 jars of more pickles put on the shelf, because I think I've got right at 30 now, and I usually put up around 70 pints to get us through the year. And usually by now I've put up some relish, and I haven't been able to do that. So I might check out the farmer's market this weekend and see what they've got. But for now, that's about all I'm going to get done today. Tomorrow, I've got, first thing in the morning when I get up, I'm going to start canning chunk potatoes in pint jars. And I've actually got enough big tomatoes in there to do salsa. So we'll see. Okay, it's a new day. I have got all the ones that we cut whenever we was digging potatoes. I got them all cleaned. I got to get the bad spots off of them so I can can them. And I got these all washed. I like to just wash them before I have to use the peeler. It just means it don't get as yucky muddy. Got my scraps here to peel them into. I'm filling up with cool water. I'm going to throw the chunks. It got to be, I think, per the guidelines, an inch or bigger. So, and that's fine with me because I just throw them in soups and beans and stuff, or stews. So I'll fill this up with potatoes and then let them set a little bit, and then I'll drain it and I'll do it again, and I might do it again after that just to help it, you know, get all the, release as much starch as I can before I start putting them in jars. All right, I have several potatoes. Get you focused. Right there. Chunked up, and this is the second water that it's in now. I'll let it set and then rinse it one more, and then I should be able to put into jars. I should get 8 pints. Man, it won't focus. 8 pints in my pressure canner. And I'm going to do the cold method. It's going to be room temperature. So I'll put my potatoes in there, and then I'll put a half a teaspoon of salt. And I've got my filter pitcher here. You want to use filtered water if you can for your potatoes. I haven't turned my pressure canner on. I'm going to put them in with it off, and then I'll seal it up and turn it on. You want them all to be even. If you're doing the cold method, you need your water in your canner to be cold, so they all come up to temp together. So I don't know if this is 8 pints. It's hard to tell on potatoes. I didn't want to have a whole bunch. Man, it will not focus there. So I'm going to see how many this is. I may have to cut a few more. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and get them in jars and see what I come up with. Okay, I did pretty good. I maybe got enough chunk potatoes left to do another half pint. So I did pretty good on guessing how many potatoes I was going to need. I put a half a teaspoon of salt, sea salt in each one. You don't want to use iodized. Sea salt, pink Himalayan. And then I used my filtered water. I went up to the first rim, or as close as I could get. You do want to debubble. These are very chunky. They could trap some air in there. I just use a dry paper towel. This doesn't have anything in it that could oily or anything like that. I washed my lids. I'm using 4-jar canning lids. I have switched to them because I was starting to have fails, and I've actually got some ball ones that I'm still trying to get through, and I had a fail the other day, and I don't know how I could have had a fail with it. I wash them, wipe the lids and everything, but I still had one, and I don't have them with the 4 jars unless it is my fault. So I try to use them always. So you just want to put the rings on. I always back it up a little bit. You don't want it too tight going into the canner. Again, my canner's off. That was room temp filtered water that went into it. So it needs to be room temp in the canner as well. Now, that's settled. Put a little more water in there. These will go in, and once they get up to pressure, it'll be 35 minutes for me for pints. It would be 40 for quarts. I'll use 10 pound of pressure for my altitude. You always check your altitude. I've also got my biggest bowl of tomatoes sitting on the side that I really need to make salsa with today if I get time. But I think since I've got some more potatoes over there that I had washed, I'm going to try and do a second round of potatoes while I got the mess from it here, and get them rolling too. And then I'll switch over to doing the salsa. I'm still concerned about my cucumbers. I just don't have many. I got more growing, but I won't hit my quota if them others don't grow. I planted them 3 hills. I've only got 2 hills they're coming up in, but not on the 3rd one, so I think I can sneak a couple more seeds in there yet and be okay to get some decent harvest before our first frost. We'll see. I think I've got enough relish if I don't make any relish this year to get me till next year. It would be close, but I need to concentrate on pickles right now. Last one, and then I'll get the lid on my pressure canner and we'll get them coming up the pressure, and I'll start peeling again. So see you in just a bit. I just put the weight on. Now I gotta wait for it to come up to pressure, which it's not far from being there. And then once it gets up to 10, I'll go ahead and adjust my heat, which I know from doing this so many times, if I go down to right above 7, it's going to make my heat stay even in there. And I should go to like 11 pounds of pressure, which is just fine. So once it hits 10, I'll set my timer for 35 minutes. And I've actually got enough potatoes that I'm going to be doing a second round. So I'm going to get 16 pints of potatoes done today, which is good for me. Usually the arthritis in my hands don't allow me to peel that many potatoes. All right, now it's going. So I can adjust this to, okay, went too far. Start. Adjust my temp, so it's already starting to, so 35 minutes first round, then I got to let it come down to pressure before I can open it, and then I can load it with 8 more pints. All right, this is almost down to 0 pressure to where I can take the weight off and loosen it, and as soon as I do, I've got 8 more pints ready to go in. And I wanted to show you what kind of salt that I use. I use sea salt. I get this Happy Belly fine ground sea salt from Amazon, actually. I can get 4 packs for $6.20, I think. Around here where I live, the stores I've told you before, the easy accessible stores, which is one local mom and pop grocery store, and then there's Walmart and Dollar General. Unless we want to drive anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to get to a Kroger or a Ruler, and I think there's a Schnucks, but a lot of times that I just don't have the time to take half the day to go get groceries, so I'll order from Amazon. And so it's more cost effective to buy the salt off of there, so I just get it when I get low. I've got a 5-gallon bucket in my pantry that I keep salt in, but I just wanted to share that. That's a pretty decent price for me, $6.20 for 4 1-pound bags. One of these days I'm going to get up enough nerve to order from Azure. We finally got a local stop. It's only about 40 minutes from me, and once I do that, I'm going to be buying salt in bulk. Looks like I'm going to have a double batch of tomatoes chopped up here for salsa. So I've actually got a new package out, and I had a half a pack. I only used a half of one time, so I might just do those instead of opening up another full one. My second round of potatoes is getting ready to come out. I actually can take the weight off now. Let that cool a little bit more, and then I'll pull them out. Now I got to get the salsa mixed up and get it simmering so I can get my water bath canner here and get the pressure canner off. And then the salsa will do, I think it's 40 minutes for pints. So a full day of canning. And then I'm hoping to organize my potatoes a little better in the back room off that table, and then I need to go get some more. I got the table all cleaned off. Got them organized according to what I plan on canning them with. The middle one there is the biggest potatoes for my fries, and then way back in the back, that's going to be for more chunk potatoes. I still haven't sorted out the... I'm having bad with the focusing. Anyway, that is the red potatoes over here. There you go. So I haven't organized them yet. They're all pretty uniform, small to medium potatoes, so they'll probably be for fresh eating, and I'll probably make a couple pints, more than a couple, of the chunk potatoes. So my father-in-law's got more. He said I can get up here to get them curing on this table. So I may go get some more so they can start curing. But for now, I think that's going to be it for today, once I get that salsa finished up. So this is Shelly from Hodgepodge Hoosiers. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time, bye for now.